Writing is essential to many aspects of life. All students in college will need to write throughout their college career, and many will continue later in life. So the core values are a necessary aspect of writing that can help writers become effective communicators. In my first year of writing, I have gained skills that I can take with me throughout college and throughout my life. Oftentimes, due to short deadlines and procrastination, Core Value 1 gets ignored, but it is one of the most important. When I was in high school, I would never look at a paper more than once, and that was while I was writing it. Now, not only do I look things over several times, but I also have a variety of people review my writing. For the Propaganda of Homosexuality Among Minors ban, Legalize Discrimination, and In Defense of the Weak, I use the following process described. I send my first draft to my professor, from whom I receive feedback. Based on that feedback, I revise my work. I then obtain feedback from fellow students and revise again. After making my final revisions, I send it to my sister. I can feel confident about my writing once I know that she has combed through it. This is why the social aspect of Core Value 1 is so important. I often overlook simple mistakes, no matter how many times I go review my work, because I know what I mean to write. Others who are not aware of my thoughts are able to review the work objectively. For instance, during an in-class peer review, a student had commented on In Defense of the Weak that there were other groups facing greater struggles than the LGBT community in Russia, and that they may not deserve preferential treatment. Although it was not my intent to suggest that this group be provided preferential treatment, I understood how my words could be misinterpreted. Therefore, I added the statement, "These changes will improve the process for asylum seekers all over the world, including members of the LGBT community that are escaping persecution in Russia, to improve clarity." Core Value 2 showed me how there can be a conversation between sources and myself that can create a meaningful argument. Much of the information I have collected has meaning on its own, but in the context of my work, it is meaningless. In the Propaganda of Homosexuality Among Minors ban, Legalize Discrimination, the comments from Putin that I was rebutting would have very little meaning to others. He asserts that homosexuals are not being discriminated against, and there are those that would believe it. However, with the resources used in my paper, there is proof of discrimination that readers would not have understood from simply knowing the law and hearing Putin's statements about it. Attention to audience, purpose, and context are specified in Core Value 3. Knowing who will read your writing, or who you hope to read your writing, is critical. It can affect both tone and content. In Defense of the Weak opens with the story of Yulia and Sveta, because their story is relatable, especially among parents. My potential audience includes lawmakers, many of whom have children. An emotional connection may be developed, strengthening my arguments. I also wanted to set up the situation before introducing the aspect of their sexuality. I wanted the readers to be more concerned with Yulia and Sveta's potential loss of their children than their sexuality. Core Value 4 is concerned with the sources comprising the paper. I have always been research-oriented. I prefer an assignment to primarily contain factual information. Therefore, choosing good scholarly sources when writing is key. I encountered this issue when writing In Defense of the Weak. I had read many articles which included a statement from President Putin that I thought would be good to rebut, but I could not find the original source. While scouring the internet, I found a video of the interview from which he was quoted, but it was in Russian. I then discovered a transcript of this interview, but the website was in Finnish and I was worried about its legitimacy. However, other articles verified different parts of his statement, so I felt comfortable incorporating it into my writing. When writing, there is an ethical factor that must be considered. Many readers are influenced to change their opinions based upon another's writing. Core Value 5 discusses the possible ramifications of an unethical piece of writing and the value of writing ethically. I always try to make the distinction between what I think and what my sources think. For example, in my essay In Defense of the Weak, I explain the facts regarding the process of applying for asylum. The associated paragraph was filled with quotes and paraphrasing because it was a factual topic that did not need my opinion. However, in the next paragraph, I talk about my proposed change to that process. I used one source in the paragraph to employ a statistic, and the rest was my own thoughts. I separated this statistic from my opinion by using the in-text citation. The biggest struggle I had was when I was writing my ethical argument, The Allowance of Suffering. Based on the research I had done and my previous knowledge, I had a significant amount of evidence against the argument that I made. Throughout Catholic school, I was taught that suffering was necessary and welcomed in our Christian lives because it strengthened our relationship with God and allowed us into heaven. Many renowned philosophers have opinions about suffering, stating that there is value in it and that it creates stronger people. I had a strong argument for why it was perfectly ethical to deny LGBT Russians asylum in the United States and allow them to suffer in Russia. I do not believe that reasoning, however, and therefore I chose to make a weaker argument that coincided with my beliefs. After 1 year of working with these core values and truly understanding them, I am confident that my writing will improve as I proceed through my college and professional career. Core Value 1 showed me that I have to continually review and revise my work with the help of others. Core Value 2 taught me that meaningful writing can be created through a conversation between several sources. Core Value 3 helps me consider my audience and purpose and context when writing. Core Value 4 reaffirmed the necessity of scholarly supported sources. Core Value 5 showed me that my writing has an ethical impact and that I have a moral responsibility to my audience. When combined together, these core values make effective and meaningful writing.